Good evening, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin evening update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we will go straight over to those charts. We already did go straight over to those charts. But anyway, so I hope you guys that were eligible got your 400 uni tokens. I'm slightly envious because I know a few of you guys out there got 2 lots of these tokens because you'd connected your well, just a couple of wallets basically to your Uniswap, so you were eligible in both wallets. So yeah, well done to you guys. Anyway, I was having a discussion about these tokens with one of my friends because we both had like quite a lot of we have quite a lot of basically funds in our MetaMask wallets and just trade basically lots of Uniswap trades, and we were just talking about how some of you guys basically some of you guys wouldn't even have had to ever actually done a trade. You could have set up your MetaMask, gone onto Uniswap, had a played around with it with no funds in there, tried to do a transaction, it would have failed, and that failed transaction makes that wallet eligible for 400 tokens. So then you guys, you can go in. I'm sure a lot of you guys have done that, may not even realize you can do that, may not have your passwords to get back in, may not be able to do any of that, but yeah, if you do you've got about $1,500 waiting for you, which is pretty good. But yeah, I was talking about it to my friend about how yeah, I mean, yeah, those sorts of tokens for some people isn't a large position. It's like a negligible position, so it's like, well, you may just hold those tokens and not really be that bothered about them. But I thought to myself, well, maybe if they don't do it based on the size of your account, which they haven't, and it's just basically every wallet's equal, gets the same amount of tokens, that means a lot of smaller wallets are gonna smaller traders, they're gonna get all these tokens, which then will be maybe their biggest position by a long way, which means they're then gonna have to diversify out of that coin into other coins. And obviously we hold a lot of other altcoins as well, and that can only really be good for pumping the broader altcoin market. Whereas, yeah, like I said, if it was if it got given sort of like proportionally and maybe some people got bigger amounts, then yeah, maybe they would have kept it, not as much would have been sloshing around to pump other coins. So that's what I'm telling myself to feel better about the situation. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so let's go over anyway. No, something's better than nothing anyway, and to be honest, there were a lot of people that maybe had a Uniswap account, didn't trade on it, and you guys obviously haven't got anything, and I do feel bad for you guys. But yeah, yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's just, it is what it is, I guess, guys. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, I do feel bad to you guys, because it turns out you wouldn't have to done much. You wouldn't even have to really done a real transaction. A failed transaction would have done it. And maybe you don't know that, so maybe have a check, some of you guys out there, see if you did try a transaction or something, did play around with Uniswap when you didn't have any funds in your account. See if you can claim the tokens. All you've got to do is put the address into the bar, the selection bar, and it'll tell you whether that address is valid for any tokens. So that's all you got to do. So just give it a go. I gave a load of Ethereum addresses just a go, just for the sake of it. Maybe someone had accidentally sent me some tokens there by accident, or done a transaction, or failed a transaction to one of my accounts. You never know. And then that account would have been illegible, but they weren't. Oh well. Anyway, so let's go over to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is obviously looking good here. We have this 11,000. I was expecting a rejection at this point, which clearly we got. I mean, this was the most obvious rejection point, especially when you look at it in the context of this daily 9 candle here. With this daily 9 candle where it's got the rejection, but now we're trading back up there. So yeah, you can see this is a bullish looking candle. This isn't the sort of candle. It is an indecision candle, obviously. Gone up, gone down, and basically at the moment is looking at closing where it opened, but yeah, I mean, obviously we did have some good downward movement in this, but yeah, anyway, it was at resistance, daily 9. I was expecting some form of a sell-off, but hey, we didn't get that deep in the sell-off, and we are now getting back up towards that 11k region. So That is good. That is good. So we will potentially have the ability to break through 11k and get back into this region. And this is the region, guys. This is the region. Let's just extend this. Where if you hold a lot of altcoins currently, this is where magical things happen. This is where magical things did happen between this 11,000 to 12,000 regions. So I am liking the fact that we are knocking on the door of this region again. So yeah, I mean, and it's good for Bitcoin. I mean, this is the point. Basically, right, this was the reversal. We needed to reverse here at 10k, otherwise things were going to look really bad. We needed to take out 10.3k to sort of, that was the next level, and also got us at least some distance between the 10k level. We then had to break 10.6, which was an important level. This level here was an important level, a very important level for Bitcoin, as you guys know I was saying all the way along here. I'll say it one last time. I was expecting it to hold, but the fact we came down so hard, then I kind of, if it didn't hold, it's fine. As long as we got back above it. And then I can class it as just like we just overshot it and we got back over, and now it's all good. And that's where we are now. We did get back over. And then the third and final level to break back fully bullish, like fully bullish from a macro perspective. Well, it's fully bullish. Some people will say until we take out these highs we're not fully bullish, but well, no, that would be a breakout. Then we'd be breaking out. But no, to be back in a fully bullish trend, back above 11k, back into this region here, we will be looking very good, very good. So we are knocking on the door of that. So can we get back in there? I believe we can. We'll have a look at dollar, silver, and stocks and stuff later. So not later, soon anyway. So we can look at it in the context of what's happening there. Over here in the UK. The central bank governor has left, in inverted commas, the door wide open for negative rates. And the Bank of England is like the oldest central bank in the world, basically. And so for us to go negative, it's not like we're not like the claptrap Euro central ECB that have, do you know what I mean, been around for 10 minutes and just do crazy stuff. But we're like a proper old bank. We're like a proper central bank here, guys, in this country. I'm talking absolute smack here, but all I'm saying is we are the oldest central bank, and we have tradition. And if we are basically going to go negative, there's a point to my ramble here, my what I'm talking about. Basically, if we go negative, I think it massively then opens the door for the US Federal Reserve to go negative. Because, I mean, if that's what we do, any other central bank would be happy doing it. And I mean, what's the US going to do? Is it just going to let the dollar go up and up and up and away, destroy the world economy just because they're not going negative? I mean, all central banks and all, well, they're all pinned in a corner now. They're all basically they can't do anything really. They're stuck at basically the lower bound of interest rates, or what they thought to be the lower bound of interest rates, where it's clearly, obviously, we're now going negative. The problem is, slightly negative is fine. It doesn't really matter. Slightly negative doesn't really have any real implications, in all fairness. When you're counting like what the actual inflation rate is, you have negative rates a lot of the time anyway. So being actual nominally slightly negative makes no real difference to the actual real negative rates, basically, when you actually factor in inflation. That doesn't matter, but it's the deeply negative that is the bound. That's where they want to get. That's what I think a lot of the crazy stuff that's going on in the world is going on for, because they need us to go cashless. They need control, because they either need to, this system needs to collapse, in which case they're going to struggle to come out the other end, well, potentially with their heads, but certainly they're going to struggle to come out with their money, and definitely without their power and control. And then, yeah, without the power and control, that's when you then lose your head also. So these guys are a bit worried, and they think, well, the nearest to the status quo that we can keep and keep the system the way it is to go deeply negative, to keep robbing us all, to basically keep the rich and actually getting richer. they need some sort of supreme control over us and the cashless society, and the way, yeah, and basically, yeah, you get what I'm saying here. So and that is to go deeply negative, and that is the only thing that really will save their current system for the time being, because actually nominally slightly negative doesn't really matter, doesn't really make much difference in all fairness. But yeah, so we have got that. But what this is going to do to assets, it's clearly going to make assets go up, especially assets like crypto, gold, silver, and the likes. So yeah, so interesting stuff going on in the world right now. Let's have a look at those other interesting markets then. So we have this S&P, this Standard & Poor's index. We have basically, like I said, we've come back, we tested this trend line, which is pretty, if I go like this, it doesn't look so bad. That's all you need to do. Yeah, we obviously break out this trend line, we back tested it, and now if we bounce off it, get back above this horizontal, get back above this high, yeah, we'll be in the clear here for stocks, guys. We'll be in the clear. Also, this sort of hiccup in the stock market, I believe, is why Congress is getting closer to proposing a deal, because like I said, the last thing Trump wants is this to collapse. So the last thing the Republicans full stop want is this to collapse, not just Trump, because it just reduces their chance of basically getting back into the White House. So yeah, I mean, all they've really got to do is say yes to the Democrats. Yes, okay, we'll meet you at whatever, because basically the Democrats want a $3 trillion, and the Republicans basically want $1 trillion. So if they can meet somewhere in the middle, or even if it comes down to it, I'm pretty sure, in all fairness, Trump would just say $3 trillion. And I actually believe Trump himself personally would like to say $3 trillion, but obviously he's got other Republicans that are a bit more fiscally responsible, a bit more responsible with their fiscal policy. That's how I'll word it. So yeah, so I think I obviously they're going to save the stock markets, and it is going to get passed, and it's just a question of when. Basically, it is a question of when. There's only so long the Democrats can hold out, and basically not have like the whole country actually hate them because they know what they're doing. So they've got an election. They want to try and win. I don't even really want to get into it too much, but I don't feel like they're trying. I don't feel like they're putting in 100% effort. It sort of like sounds like my report cards at school. Not putting 100% effort, but still got straight A's. So well done. Still came top of my class. And I still did a lot of my exams early, and still got A's. So as in doing them a year early. But anyway, I digress there. But yeah, it just reminded me when I was saying it. Yeah, they're not putting their full effort into it. Yeah, Nasdaq, as you can see at this trend line, Nasdaq is clearly a bit frothier than other markets, being the leader. So it is struggling a bit more. But yeah, look, it's at this line here. I mean, looking at this, you could look at this two ways, guys. This is either done. You can either stick a fork in this, or this is the level it's going to bounce and go up. And you just know my overall views that they aren't going to let this just tank. So the alternative is then upwards, isn't it? Basically, we haven't looked at the Russell for a while, and it hasn't really been doing a lot, as you can see here. Yeah, it's not really been doing a lot. So there you go. Gold basically got rejected from the top of here. It was looking like it wanted to break out the top, but yeah, it got slammed down. Yeah, they took that opportunity with the volatility around the Fed to slam gold. No real surprise there, but are they going to pin this down? Of course they're not. They cannot pin this asset down. They will not. I mean, I am in my mind, and this is not any sort of financial or trading advice, I'm about 90% certain this is going to break up to the upside, and is going to basically hit 2300 pretty quick. Probably around, should we even draw a circle of the time that I think we'll get there, if I can draw a circle, if I can work out how to do it. Oh, this is the drawing tool, surely, isn't it? So there must be a circle. Yeah, ellipse. That can be a circle. So I think gold is going to... come on. There we go. I think gold is going to be here somewhere. So it's going to be, yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe I'll give myself a little bit more leeway. I think the gold price is going to enter this circle, but I've not kind of, I mean, that's a bit vague, isn't it? Yeah, let's have it like that. That makes it a bit more fair, doesn't it? I think the gold price is going to be in here. I mean, you can see that's where I've drawn my arrow to. So we can leave that on the chart and we'll see how that plays out. You guys obviously know, put it there. So we are all on the same page. Silver, anyway, silver back over 27. Had a nice little bounce off its support that we've got drawn in here. Yeah, back above 27. Once this gets and holds in the 28s, as you can see here, then I think we will be off to the races. Off to 30 and I'll win that bet. So yeah, DXY has got a nice 92 handle, which is what we wanted to see, because this morning I was looking at a 93.5 handle, which I didn't like. And I knew the implications of, and it is nice to see this got slammed down just how it should do. Let's play whack-a-mole with the dollar. Like, if the dollar comes above this level, let's whack-a-mole like like they do with the VIX. I don't know if you guys know about like the short the leverage short volatility trade, where they basically have to whack-a-mole the VIX down. Yeah, it's sort of a case of that, but with the dollar. BTCD, how are you doing, my friend? So yeah, here we go. I mean, I was literally talking about this as well. I was like, it goes up and down, but look, the trend is down. So like, this coming down a bit now. Come on, off you go, son. I'll see you later. Can we have a nice new low? Can we get down to this 57, please? Yeah, and can you just basically make me rich? Yeah, so anyway, let's do this. So yeah, things are looking better. Things are turning around. Things are turning around. I mean, yeah, we could get more spanners thrown in the work, but do I think that is the likely option? No, I don't, because the trend of this is down. The trend of the dollar is down. The trend of Bitcoin is up. The trend of stock markets are up. The trend of gold and silver is up. So that's a lot of trends that you're going to expect to turn on a dime just to be wrong on our macro views. So you just got to back the probabilities and the statistics, guys. And it is as simple as that. Let's have a wee look at our friend Tesla. How is Mr. Tesla doing? Tesla down a little bit today. I mean, whilst I talk about the trend is your friend, you just have to look at this in. You have to look at this in this context, guys. And I know things can stay vertical for a long time. Things went very vertical. Well, things went very vertical there, held, went very vertical here, came down and went vertical again. But yeah, I mean, I'll just stick to the trend as your friend. But hey, this is yeah, I mean, the stock market's go up, which I expected to. It's going to go up. It's just a very aggressive. No wonder everyone's buying this, because this is your biggest alpha play. And if you want to play stock markets, this is probably the one that is going to pump the most, and has been pumping the most. So there you go. So let's have a look at those good old stochastics, see how they're doing. I've got a sneaky suspicion that they be looking good. But yeah, so 4 hour first, let's straighten this out. But yeah, 4 hour, this is basically a bullish reset of the 4 hour. Let me just sort this out a little bit. As you can see, 4 hour coming down, price actually not really coming down too much. And this will obviously have to turn its way back up. 12 hours, sorry. 12 hours turning down. But yeah, this is what I'm expecting, as you guys know. But if we basically get down to here, then yeah, we are going to struggle. Bitcoin is going to struggle. But do I think it's going to happen, or do I think we're going to do this? I think we're going to do this. And why do I think we're going to do this? Because of this, it's starting to look good now. This is this is going to bust us back up to the upside. Pretty quickly, and it's going to get us nicely above 11k into this nice zone here, yeah, and then jobs are good, and basically that's what that is going to do. 2 day as well, nicely turning up as well. That'll give us some extra momentum. 3-day, this is gonna turn. This, I mean, if we break 11k, these are all gonna turn once we break back above 11k. No, obviously not instantly, but once we get back above 11k into that region. Sorry for just flashing through those like a lunatic, but we are basically gonna these are gonna turn once we get back into this zone, and things are gonna start to look incredibly bullish. It is just going to look like what I was saying from the very inception of this 2 bi-weekly 9. I was saying, well, sideways to down in this region here, as long as we hold this level here, which basically we have, we will have a 1 to 4 sideways to down correction, candle correction, and then once we break back above, we will be off to the races, and that is literally what is going to play out here, guys. Yeah, even though some people are calling for some really low levels, I just got sidetracked a bit by just thinking about the title of a video. The title of a video that some analyst that is a good analyst, he is a good analyst, and I guess it is just clickbait, but he basically, his title is Ethereum to 53 cents. So I don't know what that guy is smoking, but I want some. Just kidding. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, this is the bi-weekly. As you can see, bi-weekly 9, sideways to down. I mean, yep, last time we did actually get mainly down until we got to another weekly 9, and then we came mainly up. But yeah, you can see we came down, but we were coming off the back of quite a big move now. That by this point we had come from 3.5. No, this is basically 3,000. Let's call it 3. We've gone from 3.5 to 14. This time round, I mean, realistically, we'll call it this level. We can call it this level, whatever we want to call it. We've gone from 5 to 10. So it's not as far, and it is in the context of all this consolidation here and this nice inverted head and shoulders that, as we know, gives us a target on the moon. Yeah, forward check, back check, paycheck. This is what I believe is going on here. And yeah, I mean, we ran into the bi-weekly 9, so we weren't gonna get away from this unscathed. We were not gonna act like this wasn't here. Although actually it has a new name now. It's called a MRI sell, according to TradingView. Yeah. I don't know why. I do obviously appear to mug TradingView off a lot, but I do actually really like TradingView, and I like his TD sequential that he introduced me to, even though now he won't be introducing anyone else to it. And I did learn a lot when he goes through it with his daily analysis, which I did watch for a number of years. But now he's not doing that anymore. No one else is going to get that value, so I feel like that. I don't feel like that's fair on future traders that are not going to, because you guys know that I love this, and I think this is really important to learn and important to know and important to be aware of. And basically, one of the main sources of being exposed to that information, because obviously I'm not one, is TradingView, and now he is selling out basically for his own financial gain. I mean, now I am sounding like I'm mugging him off, but he is selling out for his own financial gain at the expense of all the knowledge that I've learned that other people like me won't learn. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but yeah, it's more unfortunate for the people that aren't going to learn. It's not unfortunate for him. He's got to do what he's got to do. We've all got to make economic decisions in life. I mean, let's face it, lots of us have to go to work. I mean, that is an economic decision that we make to have money. It's not something we necessarily want to do. I'm sure TradingView doesn't want to not be teaching people the TD sequential, but it's like he's going to work and he's got to make a living. So fair play to him. So let's we're so sorry, we have done the stochastics. I was gonna say let's have a look at the stochastics. So that is done. Yeah, so what do I think is going on? Oh yeah, oil is obviously making a nice move. It's basically back at $41. Oil was giving my predictive, it's not my predictive tracking model, but a predictive tracking model that I have access to. It was giving it a bit of a scare, and when I was talking about are we going into a deflationary environment, one of those big inputs was oil around 37, but it was all okay because Mr. Trump got out his saber and started rattling it around, and then before you know it, there's threats to Iran, threats from Iran, just general Middle East shenanigans, and then what do you know? Oils are back at 41. This man, we live in such a manipulated market. It's just ridiculous. Like we live in the pantomime. We live in a pantomime world now, guys. Even politics is even worse. But people in economics and finance, they can't even pretend that they're above the people in politics, because they're definitely not. And then so you got three types of people in my view. You've got the politicians, which are literally paid liars, and they are the pantomime people traditionally, but obviously we're all pantomime people now. You've got the finance people, which are basically now they are pantomime people as well. They don't really they just want free money from the Fed. They don't really look at fundamentals or anything like that. They're just idiots. And then you have the scientists as well, just the pure science people, and they're just basically just all basically owned by the left now. Science isn't even a thing. I mean, there aren't just two genders, guys. I mean, science doesn't exist anymore. These guys have sold out to, I don't even know what they've sold out to. They've probably just sold out to peer pressure on campus. Because one thing I will tell you about people that work in academia, one of my mum's ex-husbands, and it sounds like an interesting statement to say, but my mum has been married 4 times. One of my mum's ex-husband was the head of the engineering department. He was a professor, the head of the engineering department at a prestigious UK university. And basically, these guys don't live in the real world. Academia is not the real world. They do not live in the real world. Let me just say this one more time. Academics do not live in the real world. They don't understand the real world. Their job isn't the real world. Their working environment isn't the real world. They do not live in the real world. And they may be used to in the past when they had to invent and do things interesting and actually progress society, because society was struggling for either just whatever reasons. But now since the society is a bit comfortable, and these guys just do basically not a lot, in all fairness. I mean, you could even argue it's left to... it doesn't matter. I don't want to get into it too much. But yeah, science is not even science anymore, is what I'm saying. So they are now a pantomime. The last bastion of actual pure facts and statistics and no nonsense is no longer no nonsense. So there you go. So it is nonsense, actually. So if it's no longer no nonsense, we can cancel out those two no's like we would do in an equation, and then just call it nonsense. So they're just nonsense. So we live in a nonsensical nonsense world, basically, and none of this makes any sense, which is that's basically a derivative of the word nonsense, isn't it? So it's just crazy. It's a crazy world we're living in, guys. It is a crazy world we're living in, and one day it's going to all end up in tears, and we're going to have to go back to normal because we can't live like this anymore, guys. Well, we can for a bit, but I don't think for too long. But yeah, I mean, just what is going on in America right now is an absolute farce. That country is a joke, and I'm not just targeting any particular group. I'm targeting all the groups. They're all a joke. They are all ridiculous. They are all an embarrassment to themselves and the world. And all I will say, the only positive that I take from this, and this is quite a big positive, is let all that ridiculousness play out in the US on its isolated little continent. And then the rest of the world can hopefully, and I hope we learn from your guys' mistakes and just go back to some sense of normality before we just end up in a world crisis, just basically all over anyway. So yeah, one of you guys said you like hearing my rant, so I've gone off on another rant today. Hopefully I've kept it under half an hour. Just kept it under half an hour. So yeah, Bitcoin looking good. Yeah, stock markets looking like, no, they're not looking great, but looking like they're going to recover. Dollar looking better now. Oil looking really good. Gold and silver looking okay. Silver looking particularly good. There you go. Thanks for listening, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is not political advice. This is not scientific advice. This is not any sort of advice at all. So don't listen to what I say. And if you've listened to this video, then you won't get that 30 minutes back. No, just kidding. Right, thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you guys in the morning.